Levy, welcome to this interview and thank you for your time. An amazing picture here.
Thank you.
8 out of 9 you scored at this tournament that you played recently, finishing first with a 1 point gap over the field and also performing at 2581. I mean, very close to a GM norm, just that it was there were no GMs playing. But I mean, there was one GM, but it was not enough for a GM norm.
Yes.
But what a performance!
Luckily, I knew that going in. It wasn't a surprise. Yeah, it was a group of to earn an IM norm. So there were some strong players there. I agreed to play this tournament before, like way before the tournament in Madrid, because it's local. It's 20, 30 minutes away from my house here. My friend is the one organizing, and I didn't have a chance to join the GM section, so there was no spots left when I was signing up. And I also kind of didn't mind, because I didn't know how Madrid was going to go. And so I was fine with it. But man, Sagar, after I had my tournament in Madrid, I was like, oh yeah, this IM group is going to really face my... And then I had like 3 really bad games to start. Luckily, I didn't lose any of them, but I managed to kind of finish strong. So I'm very happy. Yeah, my goal. I told my wife my goal before the tournament was 7.5. So wow. I got 8. So
7.5 is just insane. It shows that you are playing at maybe your strength or even higher than that. Because as you said in this tweet, that since returning to competitive chess, I've played 18 games and I've lost only one, gained 50 elo. Now at 2370. Okay, there will be bad games, but I think this is unbelievable. Yeah, like Levy, share with us what is happening. Like, how are you being able to perform so well? It generally takes like a couple of events to first get into the groove.
Yeah, I think the first thing that I'll cite is this YouTube video that came out with Hikaru, the lie detector.
Yes.
Where Danny asks Hikaru if he thinks I can be a grandmaster, and then Hikaru asks Danny, and they both say no. But for some reason, the editing team did not indicate that was before the tournament in Madrid. So that was when I was 2,322, my lowest rating in 7-8 years, and I hadn't played in a very long time. So to be honest, I might have even agreed with them at that time. And I think what changed for me more than anything else has been getting a coach, and a really good coach. I think my coach was very good at like putting and there he is, by the way. Yeah, Arturs Niksans from Latvia. And he's a very strong player. He's been 2,600, Latvian #1. When Kovalenko was representing Latvia, he was #1, but they're also good friends. And I think for the first few sessions, Arturs did a really nice job, like sticking my head in my own mess and showing me a lot of the things that I did wrong that were completely not necessary. Now I'm okay learning like that. I don't mind. Not everybody is okay with that. But he also instilled some pretty nice frameworks, which I think for me really stuck. And I was preparing my openings and everything like that. And the first game in Madrid really set the tone. I mean, to come back, you haven't played in 2 years. You play the top seed in the section, Tomas Sosa, who I played him with the black pieces. And to win with black, like we were the last game. The whole chess club is standing to the side watching us because they're all done. I mess it up on like the 70, 80th move and I managed to hold it together and I managed to win. I mean, it was really special. It would have been even more special to not lose the 8th game there and actually somehow make the GM norm in the first tournament back. I mean, I almost did it, like I don't know. And I don't know how I did it, but I think that's how I did it. I think it was a good mix of having I just managed to find, the perfect coach match. And a lot of his advice is just sort of playing in my head as I'm playing. And okay, I haven't played a crazy amount of people over 2,500 yet. So I don't exactly know my real playing strength, but listen, I'll take plus 48 in 2 tournaments, you know?
This is an insane comeback, and you know, I can, as you know, I can relate to it, and I can believe that it's very, very difficult what you're doing. But how did you choose your coach? Like how,
He
because there
reached out
must.
to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I of course I know him, and I met our tours in 2019 in Las Vegas. He had done a couple of coaching sessions with a friend of mine, and I remember he told me this funny story. He was like, "I'm traveling with my friend Igor Kovalenko, Grandmaster," and he was like, "Ah, yeah, you know, Igor didn't pack a laptop charger. His laptop's just been dead the whole trip." I was like, "What? How's that possible? Like, how can you not prepare for any opponent?" And he's like, "Oh, whatever." He just shows up to the game, and he just. I remember this in a very funny memory, and I knew he was doing some stuff, and he was making some content, playing tournaments, and he reached out to me maybe April and said, "Hey, like I saw you were." And actually a handful of grandmasters have reached out to me and said, like, I saw, let me help. And at first I thought, okay, I'll do a few lessons, I'll sample, and I can, I'll see who's a good style. But with our tours, it was like right away. I mean, it was a really good fit, and it's like he awakened a confidence inside of me that was dormant, like through our training and you know. Getting correct ideas and positions that he was giving me, really, really like properly preparing the openings for my tournaments, not just what I was doing in the past, like showing up and winging it. I mean, I've revitalized, some of my strongest openings, like the Caro Kann, and with white now I have like a big level of flexibility. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, there was a lot of pressure on myself to launch this road to GM, because I mean, what if it just totally failed? Like the very first tournament just totally. And I only felt that nervousness 1 hour before the first round in Madrid. I was sitting in my Airbnb and I was going, why did I do this? And I felt like a fighter, like the fighter who's going to walk to the ring and just fight. Yeah, and I remember when I caught Soso with this amazing queen sacrifice, and I was just sitting there like, this is incredible. I mean, I'm back. 23-22 is a joke. I don't like, rating doesn't matter anymore. I'm just gonna play my best. And I've reignited the love for playing, like the working hard at the board and everything. And so a lot. I think I've actually gotten much stronger too, just practically speaking, not just like the chess decision making psychology. So I can't wait to play more, and I can't wait to suffer painful defeats like in Madrid and learn from them.
Oh,
So
can't wait to suffer painful defeats is a nice way
well,
to put it.
that's Sagar, I'm sure you've had games like that too. When I realized I was losing that game, I wanted to vanish. Like I just wanted to disappear, and my legs were weak and I just couldn't. And I stepped out of the club. There was 50 fans there. I mean, it was full because maybe they thought I was going to win the game, and they just let me pass.
Oh,
They didn't
really?
bother me.
Wow.
Yeah, they just were like, Levy, we're so proud, like great game. And I was like, thank you guys. I just like walked off into the distance. I didn't have the stomach. Like I couldn't, I mean, we were next to a big road, Sagar. It's a miracle I didn't cross it, like I just walked on and it's just, so it's the learning experience from the losses too. I mean, I'm going to lose more games, and, but I'm just focused on the journey, I'm not one of these 15-year-old guys. I'm almost 30. So it's, yeah.
Not just age, Levy, because age is one thing. You also are, that a lot of people are following what you're doing. In fact, Hikaru is making a recap almost the moment you finish your game, or even
Before even sometimes, yeah.
before. So there's so much of focus on each game you play. Have you managed to sort of switch, like, being a content creator or being this guy who's making stuff, knows people are following, and when you sit at the board, have you managed to get into that zone that now you are a player?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it bothers me. No, it's not like a conscious thing I have to do. Maybe I've been used to, maybe it's the fact that they're not all in the room. I don't know how I would do if I played in a stadium of 10,000 or something, or 50,000 or something like that. It's just the camera and the feed is going to all these people. But I think what motivates me a lot is that it really can be inspiring for many people. And I think if I pull it off, I I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could probably write like a book about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would sell more
I
than your the
I
book
I
behind.
yeah, I hope so. Really, and this one sold very well. No,
Yeah.
it's very inspiring also to read comments from people that say, "I'm going to try my first tournament because of you," and all these different amazing stories. I mean, people write me so much. People write me a lot of crazy, silly things like in the YouTube comments and everything. But I get some really heartfelt messages from fans, just one on one, and um, it's pretty inspiring. But no, when the last two tournaments, this road to GM, when I go to that room. It's just me and the board and the opponent. I mean, that's really it.
Now you spoke about this road to GM, and I took this out. And for me, this is also very, very interesting what you've done. You've converted a series, made a series first, then made a Patreon
Mm-hmm.
where people can go and choose become a member. Um, Putting yourself under more pressure in a way that here's something that I'm creating around my GM title, but it's also so beautifully done because it's adding value to all your viewers. You have more than 1,000 members on Patreon, which is less than 3 months.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of podcasts, for example, they have a Patreon where if you subscribe, you get a bonus 1 hour episode, and you can get content and access to the person. And I thought about it mostly from the perspective of the Grandmaster lessons. Because, if we do a 2 hour lesson analyzing my tournament games, sometimes in there I will ask questions that I know I kind of know the answer to, but I think could be useful for the audience. But it's also just a lot of behind the scenes training. I don't post my opening preparation on there, obviously, but then when I travel, maybe I'll vlog, maybe I'll take time out of my day to create extra content that normally I maybe wouldn't, but just to take people behind the scenes of all of this and how it's like to practice and travel and prepare. And then, yeah, for the higher tier, I wanted like much more personal. So people get, some of their games reviewed maybe. And I have score sheets from the tournament that I'm going to raffle off, like write a note on the back and, mail to them. And just some little things like that, because there are viewers who might have full-time jobs that watch our channels and they don't really spend any money, but they would be happy to support us in kind of unique ways, not just, buy the courses or whatever. Not everybody wants to spend money on educational content, but they might consider stuff like this. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. And if I had no members, I would be like, okay, well, that's a learning experience. But yeah, almost over 900 at this point.
Yeah,
So,
935.
it's, yeah.
And
So
it's
it's,
becoming like just like how you have to manage your channel every day, put a video. This is something that now you have to manage because there is a serious number of people there.
yes, and I've actually admittedly fallen a little behind. So I need to, yeah, for sure. I'm this week actually when we're recording this, I'm gonna start uploading a couple of Q&A sessions. I'm gonna upload some game analysis for the higher tier. I need to mail some of the, I need to do the giveaway, and yeah, I'm adding a lot more to my plate, but it hasn't affected the tournaments. Like the tournaments are like battle mode. I mean, everything else shuts off. I cannot answer a single email. Nobody can bother me for the calls and everything. And actually, you just connected me to somebody, but it was right during the tournament. So I actually told them politely, like, I'm very sorry, but I can't. Yeah, it's like all I see is the tournament and the victims in front of me. So yeah, but for now I have a nice little break, and actually I was supposed to be playing right now, but I took off this tournament because I wanted to get some rest.
You spoke about this focus, and because you train, you have, as you said, you have a good trainer. Do you think that it makes your, not just the trainer, but this entire journey makes your life more disciplined? What does your schedule look like right now? Have you become like more efficient? Are you spending your time really well?
No, actually, believe it or not, no. I would love to sit here and give you this like nonsense spiel about how I have like a routine. No, all I've done, I mean, every day is relatively, it starts the same. I wake up around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I walk the dog. I get a coffee for me and Lucy outside. If she is going to the office that day, she drinks coffee in the office. So then I see how my energy is in the morning. Sometimes I sit right away, I start working. Sometimes I try to do if I'm very sleepy, I do the kind of brain dead tasks. I try to do the accounting for the month or whatever, just the little tasks, the laundry. Once the brain wakes up, I start, content, clips, this, that, sponsors, whatever. Maybe I have a meeting or two that day. A lot of it is also Chesley work. I have to plan this whole couple of weeks. We've been interviewing, who's going to be the next designer on Chesley. So we've been interviewing people. And then I just try to do some chess immersion. So if I have some opening files that I haven't reviewed yet, I'm going to just try to review them. If right now there's a lot of tournaments going on, junior championship, Beal. I scroll through the games. Is there anything interesting for me? Sometimes I'll get bored. I'll solve some puzzles. One thing that's funny is that actually my blitz and bullet have gotten way stronger now that I'm kind of training and practicing. So during the day, I'll boot up a couple games, or just destroy a couple people. So right now, the chess...
It feels good when you prepare some opening and, just overall chess. But when you go online, then you are like, okay, I'm playing something with some background,
Yes. Yeah. And I've had a lot of success on some of my anonymous accounts, like playing my prep. It's so much fun. And even when I'm playing stuff I'm not generally playing, I just feel sharper. I just feel my decision making is good. And a couple times I've outplayed some players, and I like to play blank, like focus mode or Zen mode. I outplay a player, and it's like some really strong GM, and it makes me very happy, because it's more, Then I play in Title Tuesday, I beat Hans. So it's sometimes that also happens, and all of that is sort of adding to the confidence. And now I said it on the stream the other day, for me, for years, it was Title Tuesday. Can I play these good grandmasters? Now I don't care, win or lose. The most important thing is the classical chess. Everything else is kind of secondary.
And what comes next for you now?
I'm playing, like I said, I actually was planning 2 tournaments back to back here in New York. My mentality was, don't be a baby, just play them. But I got to tell you, after playing 9 rounds in 5 days, which is the American schedule, I can actually time how long my rounds were because I have the live stream. So my average game was 4 hours, 9 times. It's 36 hours of chess in 5 days. It's a lot. Like, it really is. And every day my sleep gets worse. And the problem is in America, the last day of the tournament, also maybe in Europe, the last day of the tournament is earlier.
Yeah.
So already my
to sleep, and you have to already go and play.
Yeah, and so that was rough, and I just decided I'm gonna rest. So my next tournament is in Italy in August. It's like a very nice open, some good players there, like nice and balanced field, big group of people between 2,200 and 2,500. So good practice for me, and then probably one back here in New York, late August. Now, September, October are a bit weird. There's a lot of like events, Speed Chess Championship, then it's the Olympiad, then there's also Global Chess League. There's a lot of stuff, so we'll see. I'd like to take a trip to Mexico to play the Repetto, the Repetto Memorial in Mexico. That's like in December. My friends went last year. They had a great time, and I was not playing then because I was old man, retired, and very depressed about my chess. But now I want to go, and I really I want to travel. For me, it's very exciting to play in a place of, everything's new. All the people are new. They're from all over the world, and they're not 12-year-old American homeschool children who are preparing chess all the time and 200 points underrated. And we're on Chess Base India, so the story that I always tell is that this happened in Czech Republic. I played a kid, and I was looking like, he's just some kid. And it was Rahil Mulik who destroyed me. And then 2 months later was like 400 points higher rated than when we played. I was so mad. I was like, this is BS. I lost to him when he was 2,100 or something. I'm trying to avoid situations like that. But if that's what happens, that's what happens. You just got to play your best, and that's... maybe but we'll see. There's a lot of interesting tournaments all over the world. So, but as of now, the plan is this tournament in about 3 weeks in Italy.
Got it. Once you have to in this journey, if you come to India, would be amazing. This entire play
Yeah. What's the
something.
what's the strongest? Is it Delhi? Is that the
Yeah,
strongest
there are
open?
there are a set of grandmaster tournaments. Clearly, before there were many strong players who were coming, but now with many of them seeing that okay, it's far off, but also that a lot of players are underrated here. Many people don't come to play, but yeah, I mean, I hope that some event will come up, which will be exciting. Which will have.
Maybe closed. Yeah, we just don't let the kids. Sagar, you upload these videos where it's some random blitz tournament and it's a 1600 beating a grandmaster. I mean, you just want me to come there? I was looking. There was this poor guy, this French IM. He played in some norm tournaments in Chennai or maybe Calcutta. I don't remember. He lost like 200 rating points just in like 2 months.
But when they go back, they gain that back very quickly. That's the part.
And then they come back and then they lose it. It's like that's the pipeline,
because they become stronger. Yeah, if they play for a month, they've played so many good players, then they become stronger and gain back.
Oh, that's. I'm hoping that's how people feel playing me right now. They just don't believe my rating. They just think he's. And look, to be fair, of course it's nice to see 2581 as the performance, but I don't think I have the skills of a 2581. I maybe would estimate my playing strength like low 2400s right now, 2420, 2430, and that was my peak. So there's still a lot to go. I don't have the norms. I don't have 130 points, but thus far this is as good as it could have been, I guess. So and I'm surprising myself a bit, but there will be bad events, there will be bad games. There's been bad games. I just haven't lost them. So the past version of me would have lost them.
I want to look at some of the critical. I've chosen one critical moment from each game to just discuss. But before we go to that, last question is: we know that your coach has been someone who's helping you on this journey. Are there anyone else who you think are playing an important role? Because when you go to an event, there have to be things in place. You're streaming and so many things. Anyone, maybe also Lucy plays an important role, but just want to know your support team.
Yeah. It's it's whoever really can lend a hand. I mean, when I played in Spain, the club was amazing. There was like one of the key staff members there, Vanessa. She also works. I think she has some work for chess.com. I'm gonna mispronounce her last name, but I'm gonna double check. I was gonna say Descarrega. There you go. And she handled the whole streaming setup in Spain. I didn't touch anything. I just gave her my stream key, and she just. Here for this tournament, I would set up the Samsung. I would use the YouTube, and then I would send the link to Lucy, and I taught Lucy how to use OBS here.
Really?
And we had to stream here with delay because the games were broadcasted. So with delay. So I asked the organizers for a live link. And so Lucy here had to delay the stream 15 minutes because, because of the fair play and stuff. So, I mean, as far as everything else, no, I've taken on a big role myself, preparing, studying, trying to get a good routine. I mean, I've been going to the gym, but Lucy and I have been going to the gym for the past year. It's not anything that's been kind of new for Road to GM. Also, just before we spoke, I told you I was doing some running downstairs in my apartment building. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. And I the only difference now is I think I can beat anybody. Not anybody, obviously. I mean, but I can give a good fight. And I think I have the skills of a GM. I mean, it would not be if I but again, so do you. Like, that's the thing. You say, oh, I don't, whatever. But if you dust it off and started studying and playing, like we have it. It's just about you got to go out there, you got to compete.
That's the toughest part.
That's
what you have to understand, that you overcome your fear. You've overcome many of the roadblocks in your head.
For now.
Yes.
For now.
No, I need to doing this. Just the fact. I'm not talking about the performance. Just the fact that you're doing this, building up stuff around it. It's brilliant.
So far, so good. And yeah, I mean, listen, I'm super excited to keep playing uh, and learning. I mean, there's still I still sometimes sit at the board and think like, man, I don't know anything about this structure, or I don't know anything about this opening, or and yeah. So I'm just looking forward to getting better and better and not worrying about rating anymore, and just everybody's like, oh, you're gonna get GM within 2 years. Like, I wouldn't bet money on it, and that's okay. I'll get GM in my 30s. I don't care, but I'm gonna do it. That's my plan. So,
Just enjoy this
and
journey also, because there's so much happening around it, which is brilliant.
yeah, yeah.
By the
Let's
way,
look at these games. It's late.
yes,
it's late over here.
not too deeply, but when your opponent in the first round played this move, Bishop D8,
Yeah,
did your
yeah.
eyes kind of light up?
Well, if you go back 2 moves,
Yeah.
before I played H6, King G7, he played Rook D1. Rook D1, I wanted to go Rook D6. So instead of H6, I wanted to go Rook D6. I rejected it because of G4, and my knight is like kind of stuck. So I thought like, oh, maybe, and I thought, okay, I'll just play H6. But Sagar, what's interesting about the position, before he played Rook D1, he picked his Rook up and he put it on A1.
Really?
With his hand on it.
Give up his Rook, it seems.
Yes, he played Rook A1 and went and just like jumped and 2 seconds on the clock, Rook D1, boom, hit the clock. And on the very next move, Bishop D8. And you could tell he was just kind of panicking, like in the time trouble. And yeah, right away it was. I mean, I was suffering a lot this game.
Yeah.
But already at this point, I was ready for a draw. Actually, here I thought I could play for a win. I thought maybe I could win his pawn on C4, but him losing an exchange made my life much easier.
Yeah, this is very. I'm sure he was quite sad here. Like Bishop.
He was sad, but Sagar, he scored 7 out of 8 after this and got an IM norm. So the guy was in good shape. I mean, and this is the crazy thing. I played him 2 years ago. He was 2,300. So he's lower rated now. And before this tournament, the previous month, he lost to an 1880 FIDE rated player in a tournament. He had lost 80 points in 2 months. And he shows up, he's beating me, loses, and scores 7 more points. I mean, chess is so weird. Like, how did he score 7 out of 8? It's incredible. Like, and he got a second IM norm.
No, but he played well out of the opening. He kept the pressure for a long time, so clearly he was.
Yeah, Queen C7, Queen A5 was a really nice idea. I mean, he totally outplayed me.
Almost, here I think you were like completely squashed for space and everything, but you managed. Your queen was never getting trapped. It was getting out somewhere from D3. Yeah. So this is cool.
Old version of myself would have lost that game, but not this one. So
does this version like kind of hang in there, or what do you feel like?
Yeah, so this version of me is like, I have to play chess. I mean, like, there's no point getting upset, and I try during the game also not to think back. Like, what did I do wrong? How did I get into this position? Like, you have to play. You have to play. If it's put pressure on the clock, it's put pressure on the clock. I saw some interview Divya gave in World Junior. She was like, I'm like much worse on the board, so I can't also be much worse on the clock. So I have to play fast. And I was like, she has a point, You like, if you're getting, and in this game, I put some clock pressure, not a lot, but not in this game, in the one you just showed. But so yeah, I mean, just play moves. Don't get mad at yourself. You have plenty of stupid mistakes to make in the future.
But Levy, how much do you think is your journey about psychology and how much is it about chess? Like, if you had to put it in percentage terms, like working on chess improvement compared to psychological improvement.
Like 70% psychology and 30% chess. Yeah, like 80-20, 70-30. Yeah.
Wow.
Because, yeah. Now, when I say chess, I mean opening preparation and knowledge-based things. So playing in certain structures, calculation is a skill, right? Like, it's a pure skill. But the concept of not making 2 mistakes in a row, like the concept of using your time efficiently and then spending it when you need to. The concept of like in that first game that you showed. I mean, just not, like, okay, you missed an idea. Clearly you're much worse, but you just have to play. I mean, the next game you're going to show was even worse. I saved that game like a magician. I don't know. I just, and I talk about all this psychology in my recaps. Like, I'm not just going to say I'm going to be GM by psychology. No, but, I battle myself a lot too, and so overcoming myself is part of the game. I'm very curious. What is the critical moment here? Because
No,
this is the
I
opening.
really like this idea. I don't know if it was your preparation, but kind of sort of.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was your prep.
Yeah, it was my prep until he played e6, which is actually a great move. And this just shows like the issue with chess nowadays is, e6 was not in my prep. It's the second line of Stockfish, but it's it let me play h5 and I got my idea, but I didn't like the position I got from my prep. It was very difficult here. Like,
but you were like, the engine loves it. This position. I understand that you have to make a move like f4,
f4.
which is very tough because you're kind of giving this up. But
yeah, but f4 is findable.
Yeah, because there's
like
bishop g6. Yeah, like
Gukesh would play f4. I mean, I'm not saying I should play like Gukesh, but it's not a move I should so quickly discard. And I didn't even. It didn't even cross my mind. But yeah, this was kind of this is an example of chess knowledge. I mean, I completely didn't know how to play the position, so I spent a lot of time. And then I got myself in trouble, like a second game in a row, my queen is trapped.
Yeah. No, this was trouble, but you wriggled out of it really well, like f4. All these are maybe not engine great moves, but on the board, I'm sure he was facing a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and here I thought he should, of course, go queen h4. But once, once he played queen h3, I knew he saw the draw. And I knew he was not going to miss. He was not going to see king h1. And that's what happened. So again, psychology. Like I am playing the person. So I play king. He spent a lot of time because he needs to come to terms with, do I really only have a draw? Boom, king h1. Suddenly he's like, oh my God, my queen is trapped if I move my knight. Position is still fine. He just has to not move his knight. I can't really take on h6. I mean, he's going to, like, for example, a5 here is the top engine move. And if I take on h6, he takes king e7, and I am almost losing because, almost.
Somehow you can trade queens, but maybe you should go to e8. Try to
king d7, rook h8. I mean, come on. It's, So, and even here, I don't understand why I can't play queen h2. But whatever.
Yeah, maybe it's possible, but maybe this position is kind of holdable.
He takes on d4 and gets his rook, and I don't know. But basically, this game was also very tough. I mean, the guy played like 20 moves almost of Grunfeld. This game made me realize I need a different preparation in the Grunfeld. It's just like too strong of an opening.
True.
But again, learning experience, and this game was funny because in this game I was getting
you, and also your opponent is a GM. It's not like you're playing someone who's going to falter. They're like he's done this before, and I mean, I don't know how you managed to save this. You're low on time, position is terrible, and he played this move f3. g4 is coming. I'm sure you are under big stress right now.
Well, when he played queen f4, yeah, because I kind of thought I made a lot of weird decisions in this game. And by the way, my coach gave me a scouting report about Maxime because he knows him. They've played in like leagues together, and he said he's a positional player. He's going to try to grind you down. And this is like basically the worst case scenario of the scouting report. And I'm low on, and it's the second game of the day, so I'm exhausted. My brain is not working. So here I just decided, okay, look, I'm gonna lose probably, but I'm gonna play king h8, knight g8, knight g7. Okay, come beat me. I mean, what else can I do? And then finally, I was like, okay, I think if I do nothing, he will just strangle me to death. So I should play a6 because what else can I possibly do? And yeah, the engine finds a crazy maneuver for him to get an advantage. which is just so I'll show you later. I mean, it's basically like playing queen f2, queen c2, queen b1. Not and trying to sacrifice on g6. Basically, it's like I don't know. But I played fast, so I trusted my gut here. I didn't, go into the time trouble, and here I had some thoughts. Maybe I can even win the game, on the first rank. But he's defending himself, and
What happened here? Like, because the broadcast is not very. Did you accept a draw here or?
no. So he played queen f4, and he offered me a draw.
Okay.
And so what happened is he actually played queen f4. He pressed the clock. 1 minute later, he says, "I offer a draw."
Oh, that's actually not allowed because it's your time. But okay,
Yes.
the position
So
is not very
yes,
ideal.
I didn't report him, but yes, immediately I'm thinking, what? I must have something. I mean, why would he offer me a draw? So now I'm thinking for 3-4 minutes, like, where's the win? There is no win, but it's a little scary for white because my queen can get in. So I said, okay, sure, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what I calculated here. My original plan was rook a1, or technically queen d1 first is better. King f2,
Okay, one.
rook a1, and it looks like I have mate, but he just plays like, let's just say rook b8.
Yeah.
Queen f1, king e3, and knight f5 doesn't work because he takes it with the pawn and then with the queen.
Ooh.
And he just sacrifices everything, and he's checkmating me.
Correct.
So when I saw that, I thought, oh, well, then I need to make a draw. I mean, otherwise I'm just dead. And at the end, he said, I don't know who's better. He was worried about queen d1, king f2, queen h1. So he was worried about queen d1 and then queen h1. But he doesn't have to go to f2 with the king, actually. So queen d1, he can go to g2. And then it's very unclear. So rook a1. Let's just say rook b8, I think, is the best move. Maybe I'm forgetting, like rook b8.
Yeah.
And now like queen whatever, f1, king g3 or something. I mean, just something completely nuts.
Yeah,
and
but
maybe
then you will give a perpetual, perhaps, right? Check and.
Yes. Maybe there's maybe he plays something slightly different, but king g2, I remember, according to the engine, was the best move. Maybe he can.
He can actually do knight g3 here somehow.
Yes. Queen g1, king h3. Queen g1, king h3. I mean, can you believe it? Like, what is this?
Yeah, the knight is the best friend of a king. So somehow, no checks.
So, but I mean, he should have played for a win. Come on, it's of course like. But he in the earlier game that morning, he was playing against Danila, the guy who got an IM norm. He was better with black, and he blundered a checkmate. He blundered a tactic. So he didn't want to blunder 2 checkmates in one day. So I got a little lucky. He offered me the draw. I think if we kept playing, maybe I save it. And obviously I did what I could, down 30 minutes on the clock and +3 for white. But
do you think also players get a bit worried when they're playing with you? They know that a lot of people are going to see this game.
Not him. I mean, and also I used to think maybe some are a little bit unsure about the camera, but actually almost the opposite. I feel they play up to the level.
They get very motivated that, now this is everyone's going to look at this game.
Yeah. And that used to kind of annoy me. That used to be like, oh God, like I'm bringing out the best in everybody. But now, like, bring your best. Let's do it,
Nice.
I'm not scared. Like, bring it on, and in this game I did some stupid stuff. I didn't stick to my preparation. My prep involved like some long lines, and I just decided I'm gonna play slow. And
interesting move, opening not
but you have to play the right way, otherwise it's just, I mean, this h4 line is really good for white,
True.
And but since then we're plugging this hole, so everything is getting better, and that's good.
As Hikaru says, the Levy needs another opening if he has to become a GM. Yeah, something on those lines.
He's not wrong, but he's also not fully correct, I don't think. Because I've had great positions in the Caro Kann every game. Against Danila, I then proceeded to play poorly. This game was bad. So in this game, I did not play my prep. I got to the board and was like, which was stupid. I mean, I don't know why I did that, but that's how the human brain works sometimes. So, I think if you have good ideas everywhere, you should be fine. Having said that, the meta of chess is to play e4, e5, or Sicilian. And I don't know it well enough, in my opinion, to play it yet. But we'll work on it.
We'll keep seeing your openings and what changes happen. By the way, very interesting position, this one. His pawn is hanging. It's not so easy for him to save this pawn for her. Megan Lee. And here she went bishop f7, which was a good move, attacking e2, and you defended it. And then bishop d6, you still can't take it because of bishop e5. And then you play this move f4, which is, I think, a Levy move, brave move, f4. And then, okay, it was not so simple here. The engine gives it as equal, but she went queen e7 and you are better. So
yeah,
it was not a very, from here, it just, you went on to win.
Yeah, I don't even remember. The best move was b6.
B6. Yes, and the beautiful point is if you take knight f4.
Yes, and bishop c5 is a double pin.
Yes.
Or basically 2 attacks on my queen. Yeah, I didn't see that at all. I remember during the game. I mean, and again, it's one of these things should I have seen it? Probably. And also in this game, while I did play some nice ideas, I thought the whole... can I show you a line? I don't know if you watched my full recap, but I'll show you... first of all, she surprised me on the first move. She doesn't play c4, e5. And she plays Slav. And so I thought she would play c6. She played it in the previous game. But she was worried about some prep because the round before she got into a bad position. I didn't go d4 because she could play knight f6, e6. So she doesn't have to play d5. And I kind of thought, okay, she's a Slav player. I'll play c4. She only plays c6. And she played e5. I was like, oh my God. Okay, that's different. I knew some ideas in the reverse dragon, which is what we got. All I remembered was a3, a5 for black is not great. And she played rook e8, which I know is one of the ways to play. I played before, and I remembered here, I think there's an idea bishop g5, and the best move may be queen d7 for black, but it's queen d7 is really weird to play if you don't know what you're doing. So she played f6, and there was a Carlsen game. He went bishop e3, but I'm better than him, so I played bishop d2. No, of course, bishop e3 is fine. And I had a feeling she would play a5. And of course, she should just kind of slowly develop. But now she doesn't get knight d4 and pawn to c6, which is sort of what I understood about the position. She's supposed to play knight d4 and pawn on c6. But here I was so happy.
Directly knight d4. Yeah.
Or bishop e6. She doesn't need to. Yeah, she doesn't need to rush anything. And I had this beautiful idea, knight a4. And the point is, if she takes, I take. Old me, rook e2. Old me was calculating, immediately. First of all, I can take on a5. It looks ridiculous. And can you put it? Is it bad for white? Okay, it's equal. It looks ridiculous, right? I'm threatening bishop takes c7, by the way, which is kind of funny. But it's, of course, a terrible move. And I was like, what if and I calculated this. So check this out. Bishop f4.
Wow.
So queen c4 is a threat. So she plays g5. Right? So she plays g5. Queen d1. She moves the rook back. Bishop d2, and white is better. Down a pawn, but black has so many weaknesses. I calculated this is the top line of the engine.
Yes,
I was like, this is crazy.
It's less than calculation, more about assessment. You assess this position well.
Yeah, and when I realized I can do this, then I thought I have some potential, because this felt, that's all you need. You need, it felt bad for black because I don't know what black's next moves are.
Correct. And for you, it's easier, you can put your queen, maybe the rook.
Yeah. exactly.
Very nice.
F4 in the future. I mean, okay, she played knight d5, and then I rushed, Then I calculated this smart stuff. Here, just queen c2, and you don't rush. Queen c2, I had to formulate, like my coach says, what does she want? She wants bishop e6. So you play queen c2 because knight c5 and rook e2 is still not a problem.
Yeah.
But I was like, I gotta get my pawn on d4, so I rushed and I gave her some counterplay.
You
but
already did the hard stuff, which was to kind of remove the block that e2 is hanging and you don't want to give
Yeah.
it up. Generally, you
Yeah.
don't even calculate lines which give up that pawn because it's a very
Yeah.
pivotal pawn.
And then I didn't even consider queen c2 because I just was like, well, queen b2, I win the pawn. But she found some great defense. This pin idea, bishop d6, e5, I didn't see.
Yeah, this was very cool. But once this happened and you won another pawn here, I think it was smooth sailing.
But can I show you something cool here?
Yes.
I think pawn to e3 is one of the best moves I've ever played. So the point is, she wants to play knight b6, bishop c5.
Right.
She wants, right? So when you see that, I don't know about you, but the move you play in 1 second is king h1. You don't even have to, just king h1. Why do you move the pawn at all? Because you weaken d3. Why would you? But there are tactical sequences where pawn e3, let's say, right? Pawn e3, rook d8, just very simply, like knight b6, and then bishop c5. The knight can move, and now the knight moves and attacks the queen, and bishop d4 is not a check. But the knight moves to c8. This is crazy. So bishop d4 is no longer check, so you threaten, and if rook c8, of course, right? Yeah, you just move your queen, and black is hanging on a4, a5, and b7, and next move is pawn to d4.
Yeah.
When I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I'm a genius. That's why pawn to e3.
Beautiful.
Because there's no check. This game I did a lot of good things. So I was very happy to find e3.
Brilliant. This was a great win. And then we go to this one where
Yes.
you kind of, in an equal position, outplayed your opponent. Here, I think his last move, knight c3, is not easy to understand that it's a mistake. Here, I don't know if you felt it during the game.
No, I did, because h5. Yeah, I felt. Plus, remember, I was playing, so I've talked through a lot of this. Like, I knew the guy well because my friend coaches him, and earlier in the game we had repeated moves. So I had a feeling the only reason he didn't repeat moves is he felt like I was gonna play for a win, and he respected me somehow. So already at this point he has 157. He's kind of losing the thread, and I was just waiting, like kind of surrounding the wounded animal. And I saw he blundered h5, queen e3, and I once I saw this,
But I think the beautiful move that you found was king f8.
King f8.
No, not an easy move, because you have to see knight e5, king e8, and he must take with the rook, and then b4. So I think what I didn't know you before as a player, but just from these games, you are able to look at hard lines, which people discount just on the surface, saying, no, this doesn't look good, and they get scared and don't look at it. I think you've gone beyond that.
Yeah, I think, and I'm leaving myself enough time to find it. I mean, what is my time here?
No, here you are quite low. You are just 34 seconds, like 1 minute, 40 seconds. But when I think...
the previous move, I had enough time.
5 minutes.
Here. Yeah, I left myself enough time here to calculate king f8. And that's important because I could tell the game was kind of getting to the critical moment. And this was analysis, actually. For some reason, the DGT just stopped. He actually lost on time after b4. So he spent some time and he saw my rook was coming. And actually... I was quite happy I found this king walk plan, king f8, because otherwise
it was very. Otherwise, it's not that easy. I think this was a very important move.
Yeah, I was. This game came down to one move basically. I mean, he let in my queen, and that's sometimes all it takes. I've lost games exactly the same way to stronger players, and I was talking to him after the game a lot. I said, like, look, man, when we were repeating moves, I was ready to go home. He was like, what? I thought you were going to play on. I said, play on? What? No, like it's completely equal position. I mean, there's nothing,
Right.
So I had to come to terms in this game with the fact that I thought I had an advantage in the opening, but I didn't. And during the game, I just said, okay, I'm not gonna push. I'm not gonna. Old me would have tried to create some problems and attack, and I just thought like I'm just gonna play. I mean, what can I possibly do? But he gave me chances, and that's another thing coach has said. You play people, they're gonna give you chances. So, that's what you do.
Amazing. Wow, this game was like filled with so many
Yeah.
moments. But
Yeah.
did you feel it here that you could win? I mean, this what stopped you from going into this line?
I just saw the check. I just saw the check. There are moments in these events I revert back to my old self, and so you see I'm down a lot on time, and I'm feeling the pressure here. I'm gonna win. This is incredible. I'm winning. Oh my god! Like I have a feeling. I mean, my pawn is on c6. Like how can I? And he played rook e7, and the first line I saw was bishop d6, which I thought just wins by force because he can't take on d7 with the rook because I take with the pawn, and then I take his rook.
Yes.
Which is stupid because he can take my bishop. I just forgot he can take my bishop. So when I missed that, bishop d6 was already on the board. So I play bishop d6, I press the clock, and I'm sitting like, oh, you idiot. Like, oh my god. Then he missed it. He believed me because I played it so confidently. Yeah, and of course, I just take his rook, the previous move. I take his rook, and I just didn't. I was like, queen f3, oh my god. No, but queen f5, queen f3 is just winning for white.
Yeah, and then this is...
c7, and
the
king just goes.
King goes in.
But that's a bad thing to overlook. I mean, that is, I would argue that's one of the easier moves I didn't find. I mean, I found all these ideas against Megan. I found the idea versus Eugene, and this is just like, oh, I can't let him check me. What? Queen f3, you have 15 minutes on the clock. But later I could have maybe lost, so it's fine. This game was a circus. I mean, this game was... Being up a full queen and not winning is a new one,
Yeah, because
when
here
I
I think you had this queen f2 takes, rook f2, and perhaps... I mean, it's still a little bit of work, but you would win it.
Yes, but already I thought, oh, why would I give my queen up? It's going to take so long to win. I'm probably winning in the endgame.
Correct.
Yeah, it was bad. Bad time management too. I mean, I was down horrible amounts of time this game, and I didn't leave myself enough time to make a good decision, so...
This game, you just outplayed him out of the opening. This line, I think people used to say you should get your bishop out of the pawn chain. But now everyone's like, okay, let's close it. f6, e5 is the idea.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I did not know anything about this line. I just know that you do what I did in the game and play f6. I was happy in this game.
By the way, in this, Surya Ganguly, who's been the second of Vichy for years, beat Vichy with black in this game, in one of the games in Tata Steel Chess India Rapid. Very nice game.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to study it. Yeah, I just know Keimer. I mean, where Keimer goes, I follow, Yeah, this game was interesting because I knew he was pretty strong, and I knew this was right after this game. I didn't win up a queen, so I was tired. I quickly got food. I walked back to my room in the hotel, and I just I overpowered my sleepiness, because you eat some food, you get tired. I was like, no, we're going to sit at the computer and we're going to prepare. But he surprised me. He played something that he didn't have many games to prepare. And I thought this was preparation from I was waiting to play basically against somebody. And I thought okay, now's a good chance. And I thought I played this game very nicely. I liked the way I created the initiative. And then I won this game the way I think a person 150 points higher than another should win. I just played fast, and I put pressure. Then he sacked the queen. It was kind of interesting, but then he didn't have enough time.
A nice move, by the way.
Yes. Before was nice. Yeah. And he has to make a decision. And at this point, I wasn't worried about playing the best moves. I was worried about getting him to 5 minutes on the clock. That was my plan. Keep as many pieces on the board. At 5 minutes, you trade the rook, and then you win. And that's exactly what happened. So
Yeah.
I was very happy. Like,
No, and you
I didn't play.
converted this pretty well. Okay, there were maybe some things that could
Yeah,
have
yeah,
been
I
done
could have.
better, like rook b7,
Yes,
maybe.
right away. But I was like, he still has a little bit of time, so let me confuse him. And yeah, this was a nice game. I was very happy with this one. But this is like I feel as though I am the best under 2400 Caro Kann player in the world. So just
Could very
for
well
now.
be.
For now, 30 more points to go. I was like, hey, you want to play Caro Kann against me? I mean, I have lines everywhere, it's so I was happy with this game.
This game, he played a very dubious line with you. I think once we played just this blitz in that bar in Canada, you played
Hmm.
this line, and you kind of here played very well. You first took. I mean, was it easy for you to take here because you can also push the pawn? Doesn't feel right.
No, this whole game, I was uneasy because he has one of these weird King's Indian modern positions where like
Which
it's
you like
dynamic.
perhaps playing with black.
Yes, kind of. And with white, I was struggling a bit. Like I have to play positional but aggressive. But then here I kind of snapped out of it. This was the morning game. I was like, okay, just Queen A3 is nice, King
This is King
B1.
Queen A3 is nice, and then also G3 is very nice. I felt like
Yeah,
these two
yeah,
moves were keeping this knight. It's not easy to have this knight standing there.
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I ended up taking it, but I liked how I created two passed pawns. So I thought they're both fine, ED or CD, but I liked two pawns is nice. And I was very fond of another maneuver here I played, which was Queen A6, Queen E2. Like threaten to infiltrate and then defend your bishop when he offers the trade. So bishop H3 and then Queen E2.
Nice.
So
And
and
then
then
you sort of moved around, and he got into trouble.
yeah, but it's a losing battle
Yeah.
for black if he doesn't get the pawns going. I mean, if he can't move his pawns, he has literally no pawns that can move. He tried, but it was a little too late.
Correct.
And yeah, there was some fun ideas here, like sacrificing all my pieces on G8 and mating him. And yeah, he showed me a funny line after the game. So when I was threatening to take on G6, so when I played Rook G5. Yeah, Rook G5. He showed me, he said, I think I can play C4, Rook G6, HG, Queen G6, C3. And he's right. I don't have mate.
Oh.
I have to play like Bishop F5 or something.
Yes. But that's a tough move to trade queens.
Yes. However, if he had played C4, can I just show you something very beautiful?
Yes.
I saw this. So if he plays D3 here, not C4, if he plays D3, Rook E5, Bishop E1.
Bishop E1, Bishop C3. Nice.
Look at that. Bishop E1's amazing.
Beautiful.
It's like mate. Checkmate, basically.
Yeah.
But C4 is very tricky, actually. C4, I have to abandon the plan and attack his pawns. I have to play like Queen F2, which is very obscure. So actually, yeah, C4 would have been quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, once I broke through on the G file, it was sort of smooth sailing. Again, another game, unlike the game against Savanovic, where I left myself no time. This game, I kept like around 10 minutes, I think. I don't remember exactly, but maybe like 7-8 minutes.
Yeah, you had time and then you were winning already. So
yes. So I decided I was going to play fast and trust myself. And sometimes it's really hard. You don't have that much time. You haven't worked everything out. You just kind of have to go. And I was able to do that a couple of times in the event. And here's a guy who played E4 against me. He doesn't play E4. And I was like, you really want to mess with my opening?
You mean Vikram?
Yes, he played E4. He doesn't play E4.
Yes. And
I was like,
he's inviting you for Caro Kann, and you have the confidence that, okay, he's come prepared. I'll still go for it.
I mean, like my coach said, can the guy prepare something in 2 hours that you've played for 20 years? So I played C5 actually on the third move in this game. I think it's the first time ever in classical.
Really? Oh,
yeah, in blitz,
it suits your style completely.
Yeah, but bishop f5 is like the best move, so I play bishop f5. But so I played c5. I could tell he was unhappy. So
So
and then
kind
he
of
played he played fine, but then h4 f6, and already it's f6 is gf is nice, I think, gf, and then
it's kind of these pawns. The king looks weak, like even here. But you always have your queen coming in. Like if queen at 6, there's always queen g7. And you
yeah,
have this beautiful pawns.
yeah. And I sort of felt in this game like I'll win the end game, I'll win the middle game. I mean, I was like, I have 7 out of 8. I'm playing, I mean, nobody can stop me.
Yeah.
And I didn't play completely accurately on this move. I should have played king g7 first. But I just blitzed
Because
bishop
he has
e6.
nd4, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, bishop f7, but he can put the queen on h6, and it's a bit annoying. Like take on c6,
Take and
yeah, which was annoying.
Right.
But he also doesn't really have a threat, so it's kind of hard to play like that with white, just like queen h6 and.
But I love this part of the game where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
found knight e5 first, because his idea was if you took, he wanted to go rook d4 and get back. So here, knight d4, and now bishop h3. Very nicely calculated.
Yeah, I had to calculate the most important thing here, which was pawn to f3.
Yes.
And the fact
knight
that
f3.
yes, which is hard. That was hard to I didn't see at first, so I thought I was in trouble. Because queen e3, queen f2, and there's nothing.
Correct.
So I spent some time calculating another line. I can show it to you. Like I thought knight b4 was couldn't believe my eyes when he played knight b4. So I calculated pawn to d3 instead. And if knight c6, I thought I have like bishop e2, but then queen c1. And I guess it's still equal. I can play rook c8. Yeah. But I was like, I have maybe queen d4
and this might be a draw.
But it's just equal. So I was like, then there's other stuff. If I play d3, he can play, my queen is attacking his knight, so he can play knight takes d3.
Right.
I thought, oh, that doesn't work because bishop e2. And I calculated queen h3. So if I play bishop d3, he has queen d7. Now there's something else there, so I can play something else. But queen d7, and suddenly he's winning back the piece. I didn't see the something else here. I forgot already.
Crazy rook d8 you have. I mean.
Yeah, rook d8. I mean, but I kind of I calculated so many crazy lines. I just realized today what I missed when I made the recap. So what I missed before. So before I calculated before this, like we can back up a few moves. When I played pawn to d4, yeah. So
it's such a nice position. You don't want to push, but it's
I was like, I know the best move is a5. Like 100%. Of course it's a5, but it's time, I need to go home. Like, so pawn takes. I'm just breaking through queen d3. So originally I thought knight b4, but queen b5 is a problem. But it's not a problem. What I missed is bishop f3, rook e8, a6.
Ooh. Nice.
And queen a4. So he has to keep his rook protected. Queen a4, b5.
Yeah.
Right, so I play pawn to b5. He plays queen b4, rook e8, and he doesn't have time to stop rook e1. If he plays rook d4, queen c2, and I win. Can you believe it?
His back rank is too weak.
Yeah, and rook d7 is a check, but king g8, and he has no more checks.
Wow. Beautiful line.
Yeah, this is like a real calculation. I mean, I did
a6 to see it from far and to believe to play knight b4. Then I think that's But
you know why this variation failed? Because I saw instead of a6, I saw bishop c6 with the same idea, but queen b4, rook e8, and now my queen is not in time.
And now he can also go back. The d1 square is...
Yeah, exactly. And when I realized, like, oh my God, my original idea doesn't work, I thought, all right, well, I have to come up with something else. So I came up with rook e1 and queen e7, which was smart. And then here instead of rook e8, I think the computer wanted me to play something else, but I don't even remember what.
Some bishop f5, but
yeah, just to push the pawn, but here the only move for white is rook c2. So after queen e4, everything for white is losing except rook c2, which is like an insane move because you play bishop e2, queen c1. You hang a fork, but you attack the knight in time. Yeah, I calculated many things that I didn't see.
These variations show the richness of chess and also the amount of improvement that needs to be done. Like you can still have this much to improve, right?
Yeah. I'm happy I saw the variation that won the game.
Oh, that was I think this knight f3 was really, once you see it, everything falls in place, but to see it is not easy. Like
yeah, exactly. And queen e1 and queen d2, and I thought I just did a very easy job. g5, g4 is by far the easiest. Like g5, h5, g4, just trade the queens. Right. And yeah, this was also nice. Just win the b pawn first. And I was very happy, but I also, I sat down and I was like, look, I respect my opponent, but there is nothing he can do to stop the result of this game. First of all, I outrate him. I'm the favorite regardless, but I felt super sharp. I was super happy. I was in a great mood. And I was like, he can't stop me. It's not going to happen. Now, if he was 24-40, I was like, I got to focus. He's 24-40, but even I want to get to the point, even 24-40, I'm like, he can't stop me. But obviously, the theoretical knowledge is better. The decision-making is a little better, but still obviously a lot to learn from the event. But I can't complain about 8 out of 9,
Brilliant performance. Brilliant. Levy, would you come back and see the recaps of Hikaru?
Yeah, for sure.
It's actually very nice, right? It's analyzed by a super GM.
No, it is cool. It is very cool. But sometimes I watch, and I have to say, he doesn't get how non-2800s think. It's quite funny, actually. Like, sometimes he says, like, guy was surprised, or I did this, and I sit here like, no, he just doesn't understand how we think. It's just like, he's totally wrong. But it's not an insult on him, right? It's not like if a 1600 was analyzing my game and was saying complete nonsense, you would say, hey, you're not qualified. Stop saying that. But when he says it, he's overqualified. It's like, a PhD doctor speaking of about like 8th graders, There's just like, what are these guys doing? They think blah, 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 blah. So I do find it funny sometimes. But yeah, for me, the biggest thing that's stuck of anything that he has ever said to me is like, use your platform. Like, you should be the one putting the pressure on people. You shouldn't feel pressure playing against people. And I guess, during my game against Hans, you kind of saw that. I didn't know I was playing him, but he knew he was playing me. Because I'm using the extension when I play on Title Tuesday. So he was nervous the whole game. And I'm sure he's not the only one, and it's cool. I really enjoy like Hikaru watching the games, and I just find it so funny that sometimes he's trying to like get in our head, and we're too stupid. He's too smart, compared to us.
I would find it interesting to see what he's thinking, and then the gap, and then it's good to improve in that direction. So.
Well, we did it a long time ago. Maybe we'll do it again. We did a collab a long time ago where we solved the same position, and we, but I would love to see. Somebody in my chat made fun of me and said, oh, you spent 20 minutes on some move. Hikaru would have seen it in 2 minutes. And I was like, I don't think that's accurate, but I do wonder how much I can accomplish in 10 minutes, how fast it would take him to accomplish. It's a very interesting, or Magnus.
There have been books like one position given to 1200, 1400, 1600, 1800, 2000, and that way. So someday that's a great idea. But Levy, thank you for joining in, for spending so much time. I know it's very late back home for you.
It's okay.
I'll
shower and go to sleep. It's okay.
Thanks for doing
I appreciate it. Well, we can check in if I have another good result. So
no, I would love
I appreciate
to, whenever you do well, to kind of get inspired through what you are doing through, and it's happening. There are many people who write to you, but there are many people, silent supporters, who are enjoying what you're doing. So keep it up, Levy.
Thank you, Sagar. I will do my best, and maybe next time we chat, I break 2400. That's the
Yes.
goal. So
one or two more events.
one would be great. That would be a GM norm, 2400 plus 30 elo, it would be great. But yeah, hopefully a couple more, and the elo is the hard part, actually.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I mean, you got two norms.
Yes.
The elo is the hard part. No, I appreciate it very much. Are you posting it soon?
Yeah, just right now.
Oh, amazing. I'll make sure to write in the comments.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go. Have a good night and happy anniversary to you and Amruta.
Thank you, Levy. Bye.